North America, 19 million years ago. A new breed of carnivore has appeared on the continent. It's a vicious immigrant from Eurasia, Amphission ingens, the giant bear dog. What strange evolutionary path could have created this megabeast? To find out, we must resurrect the bear dog. But we have a problem. Giant bear dog fossils are so rare that there's only one complete skeleton in existence.
This is such a rare animal, if you found any part of it all, it would be a major find. It would be something you could add to that very, very small collection of these things that are known so far, because they're known from such a limited number of places right now.
With so few fossils to work from, putting the flesh on the bear dog's bones presents a challenge.
It would have looked more or less like a bear, but with a little bit funnier head with a longer snout.
However, with bear dogs, it's not a case of one size fits all. In fact, some species were as small as a fox. But the largest known individual species of the North American bear dog is Amphission ingens. And it was huge.
All right, let's get up. Come on, Adam, get up. Ah, good. So to give you some idea of scale, I'm 6'3". This grizzly bear is about 8 feet tall. And a bear dog is another foot above that.
Jesus. Okay, got it.
He's 650 pounds. A bear dog's 900 pounds. You don't want him leaning up against you.
Amphission, the giant bear dog, wasn't native to North America. It was an invader sweeping in from Eurasia during the Miocene epoch, about 19 million years ago. Scientists believe that it traveled to where the food was, literally eating its way across 2 continents. There were plenty of prey to choose from, for this was an amazing period in history. The golden age of mammals, a time when a wide variety of creatures roamed throughout the world. At the time, the American Northwest was a vast prairie similar to the African Serengeti today.
We're developing grasslands, open country for the first time. Groves of trees here and there, and in between sort of an African savanna-like environment.
The grasslands were a meeting ground for a wide range of prey animals. A walking food store for an opportunistic super predator.
We're very near the peak of mammalian diversity when we had the maximum number of species on the landscape and some of the largest things that ever existed.
And the giant bear dog had a wide range of weapons to attack and kill, such as powerful but short forelimbs capable of lightning-quick bursts of speed, maneuverable paws with long, menacing claws, an enormously strong jaw, and, of course, razor-sharp teeth, all designed for one purpose: to kill.
Look at the front end of this animal. Has really, really large upper and lower canine teeth, which are the slashing teeth, the biting teeth it uses to grab prey, stab it, and pull it down. Almost all the rest of the tooth row here is these back teeth, which are huge compared to most other mammals you would find in this time, especially this big tooth right here called the carnassial. And these are the teeth they used as like scissors to slice up flesh and cut up the meat after they've torn it apart. The striking thing you see about the skull is this huge ridge over the top of the brain case called the sagittal crest. This supports gigantic jaw muscles that ran down from this crest and down in the gap here and attached to the lower jaw and pull the lower jaw up. So this would have given it a very strong bite force for the size of this skull.
Like modern bears, the bear dog's most brutal weapons were its killing paws.
It allows them to kill things the way we see grizzly bears kill things today, which is often with a massive swat that knocks the animal over, and then they can place their killing bites wherever they want.
But how does that work in reality?
When you're talking about the tools of a bear dog, have a look at this grizzly bear's paw, just like a bear dog's. Now, this can be used just like a big sledgehammer. If it gets too close to its prey, boom, it's going to come down, use all of this power here, and just knock it down, knock it out, and start eating. Five claws. These claws, ripping, tearing, and oftentimes just slugging. Look at the back of this. All power. One big swipe. It's down and out, and it's dinner.
And like the modern-day bear, the bear dog had a super sensitive sense of smell.
It has a reasonably long snout, and when we look at the snout, we can tell that it probably had a pretty good smelling apparatus. And so it probably hunted after prey based on smelling it from a long distance away.
From everything we know about the bear dog, their senses are going to be very similar to a grizzly bear. They have 6 million times the smell power that we have. And then that's just honing in on where can I get my next meal, using their ears, see if they can hear something going through the bush. When they go up, they want to see what's around them. They'll get up on their haunches, they'll start sniffing around, start using their eyes, looking around, and their ears. And all of that is just focusing on where can I get something to eat. And then once they find it, this is just like a 600-pound missile.
And when it first entered North America, the giant bear dog was definitely the new beast in town. It cut a killing swathe through every prey item in its path. However, bear dog wasn't the only killer roaming the continent. Meet Dinohyus, also known as the Terminator pig.
This is Dinohyus, the biggest pig of all. Its skull is over 1 meter long.
This ferocious beast was like a wild boar on steroids.
Think of a razorback hog that's the size of a bison. And now give it all the attitude to that razorback. It is an extremely impressive animal. And that's where that term got coined, the Terminator pig.
It was a true monster. Bigger and meaner than the bear dog. It ate what it wanted, when it wanted.
Dinohyus walked into the area and it was in charge. It was probably the king of all it surveyed. And those teeth, absolutely enormous. These incisors that are very large, and then these enormous, enormous canines. And this is for biting and pulling off parts of a carcass or any other food. These premolars, extremely large, very thick enamel, crunching, breaking, mostly just breaking things. Imagine a bone in there just being broken in half. Nothing has had teeth that big before. If it was hungry, it would kill meat and it would eat it. But if there's already a carcass laying on the ground, it didn't matter who was on that carcass. Dinohyus came up and said, "It's mine now."
I visualize it more as sort of the garbage collector of this grassland savanna, as the first animal that could go in and could claim any carcass that it wanted to eat, sort of the bully on the block.
There wasn't anything quite like Dinohyus. Even a big bear-sized Amphision by itself would probably have been intimidated by Dinohyus.
Dinohyus belonged to a family of mammals known as entelodonts, huge pig-like carnivores that were over 2 meters tall to the shoulder, as tall as an American buffalo.
This is an entelodon specimen that was discovered about 100 years ago. It is a fantastic skull. There's been a few bones and teeth found of this animal, but this is the only skull like this. It's a one-of-a-kind.
The startling thing is, this huge skull came from a medium-sized Terminator pig, and it is still larger than the skull of a fully grown crocodile.
Entelodonts could open their jaw amazingly wide. Amazingly wide. Now remember, they have these big fangs here, these huge, huge teeth. And with these huge teeth, they have to be able to open their mouth up large enough to get a part of a rhinoceros carcass in there. That's a lot of food to get into that mouth. We see similar things happening today with some reptiles. Crocodiles have to open their mouth very wide.
The Terminator pig was in no danger of biting off more than it could chew. Its jaw was as big as its appetite and evolved for maximum effectiveness.
Well, when an animal has its jaw that wide, it gets popped in the jaw, it's going to dislocate the jaw. It's very, very dangerous for the animal to open its mouth that wide, unless you have a bunch of muscles stabilizing it from the side. Now, the only way to stabilize muscles from the side is to have something out like this, cantilevered out, to bring the muscles in. And what this allowed for was stabilizing the jaw while it was open. And the reason is so it could put big food in its mouth.
A comparison of the skulls shows how much of an advantage in size the Terminator pig had over the bear dog. This is a bear dog skull, about 45 centimeters, nearly 3 times the size of a human skull. And this is a giant Terminator pig skull. At nearly 1 meter long, it's twice the size of the bear dog skull. But even though its skull was huge, the Terminator pig did not have a large brain.
They weren't too bright, were they? They had pretty small cranial capacity.
We overplay how small their brain was. Now, it has a small brain compared to its skull, but when you look at the overall body size of the animal, we find that the brain is comparable to other animals.
Like a hippo, like you said.
Such as hippos, such as other animals. It still wasn't a real bright animal.
A giant bear dog would have to rely on its own wits and weapons if it encountered a Terminator pig. It could menace the pig, nipping at it, circling, swatting, jabbing. But it would be hard-pressed to outfight the pig head-to-head, jaw-to-jaw. For now, the bear dog would have to bow to the Terminator pig, but evolution would eventually give the bear dog the upper hand. However, success would ultimately lead to catastrophic failure.